Wow. You know, like everything unfolds perfectly, even though we don't recognize that sometimes. So John was under the weather this morning, and I'm like, oh no, the music, what are we going to do? And we get Jim. And Zach. It's yeah. It's just perfect. It's always just perfect, even though sometimes I don't think it is. All right, we're not going to use that. Let's see where Spirit takes us today. Turn off the safety. We're going for the gold. Okay, so the talk title was just for today. And the idea was that I had when I had this talk title, like we do them about a week and a half, 2 weeks in advance. And I was sitting there thinking, okay, I'm going to have this talk title. It'll be about just for today. And then it'll be about staying in the moment and refocusing our energy for what's going on today and being able to endure without wings or not being able to cross the water and so on and so forth. And I was sitting here thinking, you know, that's not really uplifting. I mean, how many people just want to endure? Really? Anybody? No, I want to have joy. I want to have love in my life. I want to experience all of the good that is possible to experience in this life. And it may not always seem like that's coming forward. That's for Bill. In my life right now. We all have catchphrases. Mine is coming forward for the last couple of months. So I'll try to use the word emerging until that becomes boring. What emerges in our life really is a reflection of the power we have given to our memories, to what just isn't happening anymore. Because the past just isn't there anymore. All it is your memory of what it was, my memory of what happened yesterday, my pain that I decide to relive so that I can experience it once again because of how much it hurt yesterday. But I woke up this morning with a clean slate, as did each one here. Everybody wakes up with a clean slate every single morning because you now have a new day, a new opportunity to let go of what happened yesterday, whether it was good or bad. I use the bad because I like starting at the bad and moving to the good. But when we've experienced pain, it can grab our souls and keep us there and shake us. And we have a tendency to replay it. And the funny thing about it is, an incident will happen and you only have your perspective on an incident. Whatever condition that is. You can stand up, Zach, it's okay. Honest. Because you would have been in the frame anyhow. So. Just for today, we're going to have some fun. My experience has been that when I focus on something that happened yesterday or yesteryear, sometimes it goes way, way back. I'll focus on stuff that happened when I was in high school. Some of us are still in high school. Some of us have been out of high school for a really long time. But I can look at that and feel, for instance, in high school I had some embarrassing experiences. I'm not going to tell you what they are. Ask me offline. And it was that experience of having, had this thing happen and being afraid and ashamed and embarrassed about this situation, and yet knowing I had to go to school the next day and see those people again the next day. And in that whole time, I was carrying that shame with me into the next day. And so it was another experience that was not optimal. Now, we can all probably look back in the last 10 days and find something that resonates to that in just one little bit. Whether it was mild or whether it was massive. I'm talking about over 30 years ago. That's still inside me. That's still replaying itself. I just got to relive that feeling while I was telling you about it. I gave it my power. See, What Holmes was talking about, and this is really important, you and each one of us is an individualization of an absolutely perfect power and intelligence embodied right here and now, because God requires each of us to experience itself as us. See, that spirit, that creative power didn't make any junk, ever. Right? So when we're living in that pain of something that limited our belief system from before, we're bringing that forward into our experience again. We're focusing on that. See, in practical prayer is a movement in thought to change our belief structure. And those of you in the classes are digging into this deep right now. Is that we have beliefs, we have hidden beliefs, we have unhidden beliefs that we know about. And those beliefs are showing up in our lives, in our experiences, because that is the power of thought, of our intention, bringing about experiences in conjunction with this limitless source of power that is saying yes to us all the time. And so we get to experience what we're focusing on. The tendency of our thoughts comes about in our experience. So when we focus on something negative, if you choose to term it negative, or something less than pleasant, let's go with that one instead, less than pleasant, then guess what you get to experience? Something less than pleasant. See, a practical prayer is about changing a thought. We change a thought by going to what our greatest idea of a source is, of that creator, that infinite power, whatever you believe it to be, the energy field, the source from which everything comes. And we get our biggest idea about that, and then we recognize, because that is absolutely everywhere, it has to be us too. It can't be, and I've said this a lot, and you guys in class are probably getting sick of it by now, but God can't be everywhere except the 3 feet around me. It has to be you too, because that's its very nature. And as consciousness, we have the power, when we recognize that that perfection is already within us, to extend that perfection into life, to bring that into being in our experience by being the very thing we wish to experience. And that's the middle of the prayer. That's the realization. Okay, I'm feeling lonely and afraid and embarrassed and unfortunate and all these other things, yet there is an allness of love that is available to me right now, in this moment. And all I need do is turn to that and recognize that that lives within me. And to receive it, all I have to do is be it. To receive and feel that communion and that connection, however you define love to be, and there are a lot of different definitions of love as we were talking about before the celebration. However you define that to be that which you want to experience. And guess what? Because you are being it, you get to experience it. And the universe responds by reciprocating to that. Because when you have a clear idea of what that is and you're experiencing it fully in your being, we live in a vibrational universe which responds to the vibration of our thoughts, to the essence of who we are, and it draws that experience forward to you. So then you get to experience the love, or the prosperity, or the health, or whatever it is that you desire but are seeming like you're not getting right now. Boy, that made me feel grateful just saying it. You know, because that place of knowing the truth of myself and each one in this room, that each one is this magnificent source of power and intelligence and love, and able to express that and become that and show that and share that, is just a wonderful thing to recognize. And all I got to do to get some of that is be some of that. And that's what each of us, that's all we have to do, is be some of that. And it will come into our lives, into our experience, I'm sure. So when we move in a practical prayer, we're moving from a place of limitation, an idea that something is limiting an infinite source and power, which is our consciousness, usually limited by our past experience. And I'll give you a little tip here. The principle of the universe, the principle, the unseen law of the universe that starts with a cause and ends with an effect is not bound by the effect. The condition that exists now is not what is determining the condition that will exist when we use this law in our lives. When we understand that the intention of our thoughts is bringing about the experience of our lives. And we go forward into a greater experience of that. And again, that's what Holmes was talking about, of looking at this bigger horizon of what life can be, rather than in our little fear of what life isn't. And here's the fun part. The past is gone. We can anticipate what might happen in the future, but we can't know until it happens. So we only have one place to do this in: today. Just today. And I was thinking about this just for today aspect of this talk. It's in here somewhere. And I thought, you know what? Yesterday, in the practical prayer workshop, which is absolutely delightful. I invite you to the next one if you haven't gone to it 2 or 3 times already, or at least once. It's always something new. I was working with something, and I was working with a blockage in my consciousness about prosperity. So, once again, I was downstairs, happened to go into a room I don't go into, and found 11 cents. So I now have 11 cents more than I had when I walked into this building this morning. Just in a little shift in consciousness. And I anticipate even more than that. Much more than that. It's a limitless source. I'm going to enjoy my share. Hello, light. So just for today, we have an opportunity. We have an opportunity to be someone different than we were before. If you didn't like the experience that you had yesterday or yesteryear, you can choose to work towards a greater experience of life, on a greater horizon of life. We can move towards expressing that which we desire to experience by being a little better than we were yesterday. Just for today, I'm going to try to be a little better than I was yesterday. Maybe you want to take that home with you. I got 7 of them. Guess how many days in the week there are? I'm not going to give them all to you today. Talk to me after the celebration. So maybe that one is one that you want to take with you. Maybe another one is, just for today, I will not think less of myself. Just for today, I will not think less of myself. Not sure that one made sense. Because often when we're saying just, we're kind of minimizing what we're talking about, right? So you did this thing. Oh, it was just something I do. I'll go back to God doesn't make junk. Everything you do is significant. Everything that you do is sacred. Don't belittle it by justing it. It wasn't just barely enough. It was you being God, being you, in whatever condition you were in. It was being the best that you can be in that very moment, in that very situation. And then you can think of not being in judgment on yourself for a little bit. Don't judge yourself so harshly. We all have a tendency to be our own self-critic. So don't think less of yourself, just for today. Think more of yourself. And I don't mean that in a selfish way. Think of the good that you are, that's inside you, that's waiting to come out. And just for today, let it out. Let some of that good out. Share your praise. Go around today looking for the good in others and recognizing it and sharing your praise. Doesn't it feel great to have somebody say, you did a really good job? And instead of saying, oh no, it was nothing, say, why yes, thank you, I did. There's a challenge. Right? Bring that into your experience of accepting the good that you are, letting some of it flow out. Perhaps just for today, you can look at life and ask yourself, how may I serve? How can I bring more into this stream of life for those around me? Perhaps that's a point at which you might want to restrain your pen or tongue, or revise what you were going to say to adjust it so that it's not a negative blast on somebody, but a positive enhancement to their life. It could be as simple as holding a door for somebody. Go to Wawa, that's always a good place to practice that. Everybody does at Wawa. It's a culture of good and love. Everybody holds the door open. Just 1, 2, 3. Okay, my turn now. Somebody else grabs the door. We get our coffee, we go about our business. Wawa's got a great culture that way. I love it. Bring that culture into all of your day. Hold a door for somebody. You know? You used to be able to put quarters in parking meters for people, but that one's a little tough now because you've got to get inside their window and they might think something's going wrong there. Kiosks kind of ruined that one, but there's ways to pay it forward. You know, I'm sure you can figure it out. You're all infinitely intelligent individualizations of a divine source that wants to share the love that it is, as you, as your unique gift and being. So, as I talk about just for today, I'm sure everyone here can just come up with another one for today. To find something good that you can express in your life and you can be in your life so that you receive more of that in your life. Because the universe is listening. It's always listening. It's always responding to what it's hearing. So as we move from a place where we were and let go of some of that pain, realizing that we only have this day to live in, and recapture some of the joy and live that joy, we'll get more of that joy into our life. We'll get more opportunities to choose to be good, more opportunities to express the love that we are and desire to have and recognize in our lives. So I invite you, just for today, to be the good that you are, because I know you are. And I know I am too. Thank you so much.